This is a wattmeter that I got from HobbyPartz.com. Comes in a nice metal case. That's one thing I like about it, is it's got something that you can carry it in and take it out of the box here. Take it out of the box here. And I've got Dean's on mine, Dean's T-plugs. You can put whatever you want on yours. Just make sure that you put one of these is labeled in and out. So the in is the side that matches whatever is on your speed controller, and the out is whatever is on your battery. So make sure you get that right, otherwise it's not going to work very well. It did come with an instruction booklet here. The instruction booklet is not that bad. There's a couple little errors in it, but it's reasonably easy to understand how it works. And there's not a lot of functions that you got to really mess with. Just pretty much a push button for your maximum values, but it does come with a little manual in there. I have my transmitter powered on, and I have the watt meter in series with the battery and the speed controller of a small foamy plane here. And you can see on the screen there, it shows you the current battery voltage at the top, the current that's being consumed, and then the current amount of power. So basically the speed controller is pulling 4.4 watts just standing still here. Okay, so I'm going to try to ramp it up. Okay, so it's going to show you the current active wattage, voltage, and current going through it. And you also have a button right here so that while you're running it, you can push and hold and see where it all maxed out at. So once you push and hold that button, it is going to hold at the peak. Okay, so be careful about that, because you're typically going to peak the amount of wattage as you're ramping up the throttle. It's actually going to go down a little bit as you achieve max throttle and the speed has settled in. So if you push the button now, okay, it's going to be measuring the max, and then if I jump it, okay, it shows there 241 watts. Okay, that's a bit deceiving. Okay, if I push it again, okay, and then I throttle up, okay, what I did there is I had to pause the camera, but as you can see, when I was throttling up, it was around 200 and something watts, and then the battery, as you're running the battery, the voltage goes down, of course. So by the time I pushed the hold button, it showed 189 watts. So what you typically want to do if you want to measure your max wattage is you want to throttle up. You're going to need to have somebody else holding onto the plane there if you got a little foamy like mine, but what you're going to want to do is throttle all the way up, let it settle, and then push the button, and then so that you can get it to hold, and then it'll hold on that wattage. Now, as you're flying, okay, and you get towards the end of the pack, your voltage on your battery is going to go down, and your max wattage will go down. So if you want, you can also measure the max wattage at the end of your flight. So do your normal flight, and then come in, stick the watt meter back on, and then measure your wattage, and then you can see the difference between the beginning and the end of the flight. So I'm going to actually do that myself here. I'm going to take this pack, and then I'm going to do a flight, and then come back and measure the wattage at the end. Okay, so I did a short 5 to 6 minute flight, and before the flight, the battery voltage at the top was about 11.8 volts, and now it's down to about 11 volts. And you also notice that the wattage at rest is now 4 watts instead of 4.4. That has a lot to do with the fact that the battery voltage has dropped. So now when I run the throttle up and look at the wattage, instead of around 180 something watts while it's running, it's going to be less than that. And let's see where it's at. And And you can even see while I was running it, the wattage was going down. That's as the battery is running, the internal resistance of the battery starts to come into play, and it starts dropping voltage. And when it's at rest, it sort of cools itself down and it comes back up. You'll find that if you want to make a consistent wattage measurement, let's say that if you're changing props, changing batteries and so forth, all that's going to have an effect on your wattage measurement. So if you're truly going to measure from, say, one prop to another and get a good accurate reading, you really have to have a fully charged pack, maybe run down about 20-30 seconds of throttle, and then look at your wattage, because then it will sort of stabilize. But make sure that you're doing your measurement as consistent as possible. If you throw a fresh battery on there, do a wattage measurement, and then change the prop and do another wattage measurement, and then come back to that first prop over again, then the wattage is going to be down because your battery has come down in voltage. So when you want to post wattage or current and so forth for a particular motor, just keep in mind that you want to have a fresh battery. Also, whether you have a 20C, or a 25, or a 30C pack, or different capacities, that's also going to have a factor on the measurement, because as you can see, when you are throttling up, the voltage of the pack goes down. So a higher C pack, the voltage is going to drop less under load, and also a higher capacity of the same C rating, the voltage will drop less under load. So all those things have a factor, and this is a cool little tool to sort of measure where you're at in terms of each prop and battery. Nice thing is that if you have a watt meter, you can make sure that you're not exceeding the current rating of your speed controller or the current or wattage rating of your motor. But I think this is a nice little tool. Once again, I believe this is about $30 over at HobbyPartz.com.